I worked the graveyard shift at a tiny 24/7 ice cream shop in my small town. A cramped little box of a place where you could barely squeeze 10 people inside without elbows brushing. It was a relic of a faded strip mall, flanked by hollowed-out storefronts, boarded windows, and peeling paint stretching into the dark. The parking lot, though, sprawled wide and empty, a magnet for restless high school kids who'd pile in after dusk, their laughter echoing off the asphalt until the clock ticked past 10. By the time my shift rolled around, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., the crowds had usually thinned to nothing, leaving me alone with the hum of the freezer and the faint glow of neon signs flickering through the front windows. I didn't mind the quiet, usually. It gave me space to think, to breathe, but that night, the quiet turned against me. I started as I always did, wiping down sticky counters and sweeping up sprinkles left by the evening crew. The monotony was comforting, a rhythm I could lose myself in. By 11:30, I was done, slumping into a stool behind the counter with a book I'd barely cracked open. The hours stretched ahead, endless and uneventful. Around 1 a.m., a trio of teens shuffled in, their voices loud with sleep-deprived energy, ordering cheap cones before vanishing back into the night. After that, silence reclaimed the shop, thick and heavy, broken only by the occasional groan of the building settling. I tried to read, but my eyes kept drifting to the windows, to the black expanse beyond. That's when boredom got the better of me. I decided to tackle the back room, a cluttered mess of boxes and trash bags the day shift had ignored. Grabbing a bulging sack, I pushed through the side door and stepped into the crisp night air, the chill biting at my bare arms. The dumpster sat at the far edge of the lot, near the abandoned shops, its rusted silhouette looming in the dim streetlight. I trudged over, the gravel crunching under my sneakers, and heaved the bag in with a dull thud. As I turned back, something caught my eye. A flicker of light in the empty store next door, the one that shared a wall with ours. It darted across the grimy windows, quick and faint, like a match struck in the dark. I froze, squinting. A car's headlights, maybe, but the road was dead, not a soul in sight. My pulse quickened, a nervous flutter I couldn't shake. I edged closer, my breath fogging in the cold. The light flashed again, deeper inside the building this time, a thin beam slicing through the shadows. It moved, with purpose. Someone holding a flashlight, searching. My stomach twisted. The abandoned shop was a husk, its doors locked tight, its windows smeared with years of neglect. Kids sneaking around, I told myself, forcing a laugh that sounded hollow even to me. It was harmless. Probably. I hurried back inside, the door slamming shut behind me, and locked it for good measure, but the unease lingered, a splinter under my skin. Back at the counter, I tried to settle, leaning against the edge and staring out the front windows into the void. The clock ticked toward 2 a.m., each second dragging slower than the last. The night pressed in, suffocating. And then, a sound. A soft tap against the wall, the one that bordered the empty store. I whipped my head around, ears straining. It came again. Faint but deliberate, like something brushing the other side. My chest tightened. The light I'd seen, the noise, now. They weren't coincidences. Someone was over there, inches away, separated only by plaster and wood. I gripped the counter, debating whether to call the cops, when the bell above the door jingled. A man stepped in, alone. He was older, 40s maybe, his frame hunched under a tattered jacket. His beard hung wild and untrimmed, his hair greasy and plastered to his scalp. A sour stench rolled off him as he shuffled closer, sharp enough to make my eyes water. His face was slack, tired, but his eyes, they locked onto mine with an intensity that made my skin crawl. "Welcome in," I croaked, forcing a smile. "What can I get you?" He didn't answer. He stared at me, then at the display case, then back at me, his lips curling into a slow, crooked grin. My heart thudded. Without a word, he backed away, still smiling, and slipped out into the night. The door swung shut, and I whispered, "What the hell?" to the empty room, my voice trembling. That was it. I needed air, needed out. I grabbed my lunch bag, a flimsy excuse to escape, and bolted to my car in the lot. I locked the doors, sank into the driver's seat, and tore into a sandwich, the taste bland against the adrenaline souring my mouth. The night was still, the shop's lights casting a weak glow across the pavement. I kept my eyes on the building, half expecting that light to flicker again, and then I saw them, two figures rounding the corner of the shop. My breath caught. One wore that same filthy jacket, the man from before. The other, a stranger, clutched something in his hand, a flashlight, its beam swinging low as they moved. They weren't casual. They stormed into the shop, their shadows sharp against the glass. I watched, paralyzed as they leapt over the counter, rummaging through the back room before emerging empty-handed 30 seconds later. They weren't there to steal. They were hunting. For me. My fingers fumbled for my phone, dialing 911 with shaking hands. Two men just broke into my workplace. I hissed to the operator, my voice barely a whisper. "I'm in my car. They're looking for me." The men darted around the building and vanished into the dark. When the cops arrived, lights flashing, the shop was silent again. They found a busted door in the abandoned store next door, proof someone had been inside. The flashlight, the tapping, the man's eerie visit. It all clicked. He'd scoped me out, checked if I was alone, then brought his friend to finish whatever they'd planned. I sat in my car long after the police left, the night pressing down like a weight. If I hadn't stepped out for lunch, if I'd stayed behind that counter. I couldn't finish the thought. The shop felt tainted now, its walls hiding secrets I'd never unsee. I quit the next day, but the memory of those eyes, his smile, the flashlight's gleam, clings to me still, a shadow that follows me into every quiet night.